Criminals have already stolen $25 million from a single company using nothing but fake faces and cloned voices on a live video call, and the victim never suspected a thing until the money was gone. Welcome to AI Tools Hub. Today we examine how real-time deepfake technology is enabling a new category of identity fraud that traditional security protocols were never built to catch. This isn't phishing. It's not a spoofed email. It's something far more convincing and far harder to defend against. The question isn't whether your organization could be targeted. The question is whether anyone in it would recognize the attack while it's happening.
In February 2024, a finance worker at the engineering firm Arup in Hong Kong received what looked like a routine email from their London-based CFO. When the employee expressed skepticism, they were invited to a video call to discuss the secret transaction. On the screen, they saw their CFO and several recognizable colleagues. They heard the familiar voices giving direct authorization. So the employee transferred $25.6 million across 5 different bank accounts. But none of those people were actually there. The employee had been talking to a synchronized swarm of real-time deepfakes in a multi-participant call. This heist proved that a visual and auditory live presence is no longer a self-verifying proof of life. Instead, it's a primary vector for a cognitive breach.
The corporate heist gets the headlines. The individual victims don't. Abigail, a Los Angeles retiree, lost $81,000, and her paid-off home to a deep fake of actor Steve Burton. Police documented 110 gift cards as the payment trail. A Florida mother wired $15,000 after hearing her daughter's cloned voice screaming for help. That clone cost the attacker under $10, built from 30 seconds of TikTok audio. These aren't edge cases. AI voice cloning scams stripped $5 billion from U.S. seniors in 2024 alone, a 43% increase year-on-year. And the deepfakes used in that corporate breach, built entirely from publicly available conference recordings. No arrests, no recovered funds. The tools are cheap, the targets are everywhere, and the legal system has no answer yet. If this matters to you, hit like. It tells YouTube this warning needs wider reach. Share it with someone who trusts video calls unconditionally. Subscribe if you haven't. We track these shifts before they hit mainstream.
In April 2026, the release of HeyGen Avatar V signaled that we have crossed a technological point of no return. This chart tracks the indistinguishability threshold, the point where human senses fail to detect a fake. Currently, only 5% of employees can reliably tell they're hearing an AI-cloned voice in a live environment. This creates the authenticity paradox. The exact technological features driving massive corporate efficiency are the identical mechanisms used to destroy global digital trust. Software engineered to save companies millions in production is now capable of bypassing the institutional protocols and sensory assumptions we have used to verify identity for decades. To achieve this scale, Avatar V uses a new motor model. By analyzing just 15 seconds of video, the system extracts unique movement patterns like gestures and micro-expressions, allowing a person's physical appearance to be completely decoupled from emotion. The economic benefits for a marketing team are immediate. On the right, you can see that production time falls from days to 45 minutes, while the cost per video drops by 81%. But the red arrows on this diagram show that dark duality. That same 15-second extraction mechanism means a single public TikTok or Instagram post provides enough data for a complete identity theft. The quest for infinite content has inadvertently democratized weaponized identity theft. Executing a high-fidelity fraud operation no longer requires a state-sponsored lab, only a gaming laptop. Avatar V applies this scaling to language, supporting over 175 different dialects while mathematically preserving the original speaker's voice tone and emotional variants.
That gaming laptop stat hits hard, but the real scale is personal, not corporate. 1 in 4 Americans received a deepfake voice call in the last 12 months. 24% couldn't tell it was fake. That's not a data breach affecting a company. That's your parents answering the phone. A working voice clone now costs under $10. 1 photo, 3 seconds of audio. Some retailers were fielding over 1,000 AI-generated fraudulent calls every single day by mid-2025. The tools democratized. The targets did too. And most people still think this only happens to someone else.
For legitimate businesses, this leads to an 18 times return on investment for personalized campaigns and a 93 to 99% drop in the cost of global training materials. This global scaling accelerated a massive fraud economy. 55% of organizations were hit by deepfake fraud, with a 1,300% surge in attacks. U.S. losses hit $1.1 billion, driving a $40 billion fraud forecast by 2027. These attacks are being industrialized in scam compounds across Southeast Asia. Organized syndicates now hire professional fraudsters to act as AI models, using deepfake masks to execute up to 100 live video extractions a day across multiple languages. Language is no longer a barrier to global brand expansion, nor is it a barrier to frictionless, industrialized deception.
100 attacks a day per syndicate. Now put a dollar figure on what each successful hit cost the company on the receiving end, $450,000. That is the average loss from a single deepfake incident in 2025. Not a campaign, one incident. 40% of every enterprise that lost more than $1 million to fraud this year was taken down specifically by deepfakes. In North America, losses tripled, $360 million in 2024, over $1 billion by year-end 2025. Q1 alone crossed $200 million before spring. So here is the real question the industry won't settle. Should AI avatar technology face an outright ban, or do we keep it open and force vendors to carry full financial liability for every dollar lost? Drop your answer below. Ban the tools entirely, or liability first and keep them legal.
We have reached a technological inflection point where rendering latency has dropped to less than 100 milliseconds, eliminating the visual stutter. This bridges the uncanny valley, the point where digital faces look almost but not quite human. This speed enables live avatars that can engage in unscripted, synchronous, two-way conversations. They listen, process, and respond in a live stream with perfect lip synchronization. This has already broken traditional corporate hiring. Candidates are now using synthetic identity packets, stolen data combined with real-time deepfake feeds to bypass live HR video checks. Analysts predict that 1 in 4 job candidates will utilize a fake AI profile by 2028. Even the legal system faces a fallout. Rule 901, the standard for authenticating a voice in court, is obsolete. Human familiarity is no longer reliable when an AI can mathematically clone a person's breathing and cadence from a 3-second recording. When interactions shift from recorded files to real-time AI, our institutional gatekeepers, from HR representatives to federal judges, are rendered completely blind. This displacement is creating a systemic shockwave across the labor market. By the end of 2026,
3 out of 4 executives at major studios and guilds expect role eliminations or mergers within the next 12 months. That's not a forecast from analysts. It's the people making the hiring decisions saying it out loud. AI-attributed layoffs are projected to grow 9-fold in 2026 compared to 2025. LinkedIn tells the same story differently. AI-related job postings jumped 340% since 2024, while traditional media postings dropped 15%. Atlassian cut 1,600 people and immediately opened 800 AI-oriented roles. The industry isn't contracting, it's replacing. And the number you're about to hear is just the headline, not the depth.
204,000 traditional media jobs, roughly 20% of the entire entertainment industry, will be negatively impacted. Beyond economic loss, there is a severe human cost. 96% of deepfake content online is pornographic, targeting women without consent. Corporate policies remain a paper shield. Without proactive technical barriers, policy enforcement is purely retroactive, pushing the burden of takedown onto victims. This world map tracks the global regulatory scramble. From the U.S. Take It Down Act to mandatory AI watermarking in the EU, governments are rushing to criminalize the possession and deployment of non-consensual deepfakes. Regulation and terms of service can only react to the damage. They cannot stop a real-time impersonation before financial or psychological harm is done.
47 of 50 U.S. states now have deepfake legislation on the books. Bills were introduced in all 50 during 2025 alone. In February 2026, 61 countries signed a joint enforcement statement, the broadest coordinated privacy action in history. South Korea went furthest, 7 years imprisonment, and mere possession of deepfake pornography is a criminal offense. The pending Deepfakes Act would make your image, voice, and likeness your legal property. But every single one of these frameworks operates retroactively. The harm must happen first. The law responds second.
Because attackers exploit the biological vulnerabilities of panic and urgency, we must rely on active tactical verification to break the illusion. In any high-stakes video call, use the hand interaction test. Ask the caller to pass their hand directly in front of their face. Current real-time rendering often fails to compute the occlusion. causing the digital face to tear or bleed through the hand. You can also monitor their mouth during hard consonant sounds, like M, F, and P, which often cause the rendering to smear. Or ask the caller to turn their head 90 degrees to expose unnatural artifacts in the 3D to 2D mapping. As this digital mirror becomes indistinguishable from reality, the systemic foundation of digital trust is no longer functional. We must accept that authenticity can now only be verified by cryptographic architecture, not human senses. With live
3 more layers the video doesn't reach. University of Buffalo researchers found that deepfake pupils have mismatched light reflections. Left eye and right eye don't mirror the same source. Avatar V hasn't beaten this yet. On audio, ask something sudden and off-topic. A live person answers instantly. AI voice systems need 100 to 300 milliseconds to process unexpected input. That pause is the tell. The FBI, ABA, and Pindrop all recommend the same fix. A private family code word, something random like Blue Alaska, that no deepfake can ever know. And your phone screen can't protect you from what your ears can't detect.
avatars, the act of seeing becomes a critical security vulnerability. To survive the era of digital twins, we must adopt a posture of verify, then trust.
Here's the closing script. The real shift happening here isn't about which AI tool wins, it's about whether you develop the habit of verifying before you trust every single time. Thank you for watching this far, it means a lot. If this was useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you're not already. We cover how AI is reshaping industries, decisions, and daily life every week. And if you dropped an answer in the comments, go check what others said. Those threads get sharp fast. The next video is queued. Don't let it sit there.